Hey everybody, welcome to DE Business Lab. I'm Pamela Maragliano-Muniz, Chief Editor for Dental Economics, and with me are three special guests, and I'm so excited. So before I get into that, the topic I wanted to cover today is social media and podcasts and having a social presence. So with me today are the Dinks, the dentists in the know, Doctors Jennifer Bell, Jeff Horowitz, and Chad Duplantis. Welcome, guys.
Nice to be
Thank you
here.
so much, Pam.
I'm so
Thanks
happy
for having us.
I'm thrilled to have you here. I will also mention that they are three of our newest editorial advisory board members. So I'm really glad that you're also representing DE as well as Dinks today. This is awesome. Okay, so when I scroll through social media, I find that there's people I look forward to seeing. Obviously, dogs and yoga and makeup and bags. So excited to see that. Then there's people I kind of can't help but not see what they have to say. Like there's some dentists out there that are like really talented but kind of mean, and they kind of berate you because they're so talented, but I still have to read what they have to say. I don't know. It's probably my own problem. And then there's some that I swear I can see my own frontal sinus. I roll my eyes so hard every time I see them on social because they're just annoying. And you guys have done something so special. You've created this podcast, but you are so positive and you lift people up. So I really wanted to, and hello, you're award winning. Congratulations on your cuspy.
Thank you, Pam.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I wanted to hear, where did your podcast come from and how did you develop it? And, what is it? How did you guys kind of get this thing going? And you've really created this whole forum of positivity. So I just wanted to hear about that and talk about that.
Well, I'm going to jump in here first and say that the whole way that this thing works is because of the guy to my left and the gal below me. I got that right. This could not have happened without this team effort. We've all got each other's backs, but the way that it started was it was really a piece of COVID. Chad and I were teaching in the same group. We were educators, and Jennifer was actually an evaluator for the same group. And during the pandemic, we were just trying to figure out how do we not only stay relevant, but how do we keep getting good information out there? I mean, that's something that as an educator is so important. It's like, how do we keep a high level of education going on when all the classrooms are shut down? So thinking about it, said, what if we created this social media presence and, brought dentists in the know? That was the original thought. So Chad was on the call with me when we were talking about all this. And so I was like, in the know, let's have a show, like a weekly show where we just bring everybody in the know. And I just, there's something to this. We can make a whole weekly show podcast out of this idea. So Chad kind of calls me on the back and he's like, oh, Jeff, I really love this. He's like, what if we use like a cool acronym like DINKS? And I'm the old guy, so I said, DINKS, isn't that double income, no kids? And even Chad was too young to really know that. So I was like, yeah, it used to be double income, no kids. He's like, well, Jeff, you're the only person old enough to really know that, so I don't think it'll matter to anyone else. And so he said, yeah, DINKS, dentist in the know. And I was like, Chad, that is absolutely awesome. I said, so let's start talking about the kind of things we can do. I said, but there's someone that absolutely has to be a part of this because I worked with Jennifer in the AGD doing a lot of legislative stuff. And she was actually, I think, vice president in North Carolina the year I was president in South Carolina. We got to know each other real well. And I said, nobody knows what's going on in organized dentistry and could communicate that better than Jennifer Bell. She absolutely needs to be a part of this. And it just happened.
That's incredible. So you guys have now a pretty good following. You had John
Yep.
Coyce on here. I mean, you guys have had some legit things happening. So this is back during COVID. Now, a lot happened during COVID. There was obviously probably more engagement than any of us ever dreamed of. You know, anybody that shoots videos and does that kind of thing. I know we experienced that with dentistryIQ.com. And but here we are 3 years later and you're still at it. So tell me what's happened since then.
I think it's just, it's there's a lot of things that have happened since then, but I think we realized relevance, we've realized resonance, but we've also realized a friendship. I mean, this is one night a week that no matter what's going on, the three of us can get together and collaborate and just have a lot of fun. And, we've you talk having Dr. Coyce on. Jeff and Jennifer have a closer relationship to Dr. Coyce than I do, but we just go out and we're like, hey, who else can we get? I mean, we just ask people. You're in a place with somebody that's pretty fantastic. This weekly show where we promote somebody who's an influencer or a leader, an educator in dentistry, and we want to have you on and talk with you. And we've realized that there's inherent value in that, and we have a hell of a lot of fun doing it. And I'm gonna go ahead and say that Jeff said that it's like her and me this thing. That's not true. It's her over there that does this thing, because she's really the brains behind the operation, and she's have energy, and she really pushes Jeff and I to make this a better group. If it wasn't no mention of a cuspy, so thank you, JB, as always.
Aw, you guys are sweet.
But I think we have I think we've got the perfect ingredients to a pretty good cake, and keeping improving the recipe.
Pam, what we've always said is that we wanted to be the happy hour after the CE course was over, and we can spend time with leaders, thought leaders, educators, vendors, manufacturers in our industry, and actually get them in the informal state. The real nitty gritty of what they've gone through in their own personal journeys, what their education means, how they can resonate with other folks and really share. And I think we catch people in a pretty vulnerable and unique and authentic state, because it's over a drink. It's in a very informal, sometimes comedic environment. But really, if you think about the most impactful times you've been at CE courses, I remember more what happened at the bar after I left and who I connected with, and the fellowship, and little tidbits and things I learned from other people, as much, if not more, sometimes than the CE itself. So I think we're creating a very unique environment for people to see people like John Coyce in a more relaxed atmosphere, really sharing both successes and challenges.
And the funny thing is that she talks about the bar, but that's what we rely upon her for, because Jeff and I have never been to a bar after a CE event ever.
See, I was about to throw you both under the bus, because I was going to say we got to spend some time in LA at the LA Dental Symposium. And while the CE was fantastic, you guys can definitely hang on the after party.
Yeah.
That was my understudy. That was my understudy.
We would round table. I will never forget it. 5:15 in the lobby bar, and we had incredible discussions. And so Jennifer's so right that's where it happens. I mean, we had some incredible discussions. It's not all about drinking. It's about what's next.
So, I think that's a really important message, and to what Jennifer said, how impactful it is when you get to see people kind of relax a little bit and really show their vulnerability. that's what learning in community is all about. And that's what we began to miss during COVID was, sure, you could get online and take a CE course, but you don't get that time to talk with the other people around you and say, hey, has that ever happened to you? Or have you ever been in this situation? Or, hey, I've had this happen, but here's what I used. It's a little different than what they're talking about. That's where real learning happens, is from that community. And that was kind of the vision behind this, is how do we kind of keep community in education and knowledge, and with so much online stuff. So we're really trying to kind of play both roles in helping to educate people, but also helping to make them feel like they're part of a real community, and that everyone is going to be open and honest and share their failures as much as their successes.
Well, that's where we learn mostly, right? And I think
Mhm.
having a community of people where you feel comfortable, and I know you guys pretty well, and you're as approachable as as you seem, which is really amazing. And I think that you've created such a great group. So
I'm sorry, I wasn't really listening to you. What?
I wasn't listening to you either, actually. So I guess, for those who aren't familiar with Dinks, can you tell everybody where they can find you, how they can follow you, and, how they can catch you each week?
I think we
I'll
should
do
leave
that.
that to JV.
I was going to say, I'll do that because I make sure
Exactly.
it's always current.
Yeah.
So we go live every Wednesday night, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central for Chad. But 8:30, we're live every week. So you can join us. The cool thing about participating in the live broadcast is that you can actually comment and interact with both us and the guests. So if you have a burning question for a specific educator or person that we have on the show, if you post it in the comment section, you had a pretty decent chance of actually getting a comment or a response back from the speaker. Apart from that, then the shows are up on our YouTube channel, Dennis in the Know. We release our podcast version of that about a week later, and you can catch that on anywhere you get your podcasts. And then we're pretty active on Instagram too. So we push content there. We've done some collaborative projects with, for example, Ignite DDS. So doing some interactive things on Instagram as well. So our Facebook group is private. So if you want to join, you just have to request.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. So for the DE audience, just so we can get to know you each a little bit better, can you each give us a little pearl at one of your favorite practice management tips or a clinical tip or something like that? And then we'll wrap it up.
Where do we even start with that? Just be open and honest in all your conversation. I wouldn't even call that a clinical tip. Be open and honest with your patients, be open and honest with your team. And there's nothing good ever comes from pushing important topics aside. So I think that's probably the most important piece to owning a business, being in a relationship. I mean, that's as many things as I can cover in one sentence. Yeah.
Too bad I wasn't listening.
I wouldn't either. I learned my pearl a long time ago from my business partner, and I think it's kind of the brand of our practice. Patients don't really know the difference between a Moeller and a Maserati, but they'll always know the way that they feel. And so I think that the best thing that you can give them is a piece of who you are, and you're like, just like Jeff said, and that's why we get along so well, is that, it's your honesty through it, and instill their trust and loyalty in you. And I think that that just, always be true to yourself and always treat your patients like they're a member of your family.
I love that.
I agree 100% with both of them. My last pearl would be, don't be afraid to buck the system and do it different. Not so much with being empathetic or sympathetic with your patients, but asking for prepayment, having a solid understanding of your practice, both philosophy and policies, and then getting your team on board, and be okay that it's different. And as long as you can educate and communicate that difference to your patients, it will be okay. And they will learn to kind of roll with you as you continue to buck the trend. So just be okay to be different a little bit.
That is great advice. So thank all of you for your time. I really appreciate it. And thank you for your pearls of wisdom. Congratulations again on your cuspy. And I'm thrilled to have you on our advisory board. So guys, follow the dinks and I'll see you all next time.
Thanks, Pam.
Awesome. Thanks, Pam.